Christians believe that God has always been perfectly wise and loving, and that his actions in the Old Testament merely reflect the cultural context of the ancient world. But was it necessary for his behavior to sync to that of other nearby cultures? Could his wisdom not have shone as brightly back then as it does today?
Abram! Abram!
What? Who's there?
It is I, Jehovah, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Oh wait, that's later. It is I, Jehovah, the most powerful of all the gods, and I've come to earth to make a covenant with you.
A covenant?
Yes, it's a sacred agreement in which two parties come together and each agree to do something for each other.
Well, yes, I know what a covenant is, but I'm just a little blown away. Of all the people on earth, you want to enter into one with me?
Yes, because you're my favorite. And if you agree to my terms, then here's what I'll do for you. I'm going to bless you and give you lots of land and make sure you succeed in whatever you do. I'll give you so many children and grandchildren that your descendants will outnumber the stars of the sky and the sands of the seashore.
Oh, wow. And the sands of the desert too?
No, just the ones on the seashore. But they're going to become a great nation, and all the world will be blessed through you. Also, you'll get to go to heaven after you die, which is way more important. But nobody really talks about that yet, so let's just focus on all the descendants for now.
Wow, that all sounds amazing, God.
It will be. It's a fantastic deal. In fact, there's never been a better deal offered to anybody else who's ever lived.
So what will I have to do in return?
It's simple, really. I want you to be good to other people and serve as an example of kindness and mercy to the rest of the world. The culture you live in is filthy with bigotry, barbarism, misogyny, and tribally motivated violence. So in setting up my covenant with you, I want to help you distinguish yourself as different from, and better than, the brutal warlords around you. And to that end, I will teach you to behave in a way that is so obviously enlightened that all people, in this age and in ages to come, will know you serve a wise and loving God. Now you're the first person I've spoken to since the flood, and my expectations for you reflect what I feel most urgently needs to be communicated to the human race. So I need you to pay close attention. You ready?
Yes, Lord.
Then here goes. First, I don't want you attacking other tribes or nations. You may fight to defend yourself or other innocent parties, but you must never make war for the sake of conquest or plunder. When you do fight, use only whatever force is necessary, showing mercy and victory and leaving non-combatants out of it altogether. In short, recognize that all people from all tribes are as human as your dearest kin, and treat them accordingly. Second, you need to treat women as equals. I know that almost all men in your culture view them as property, but this is totally unacceptable. You may marry a woman only with her agreement and as an act of mutual love. And by the way, her father giving her to you does not count as her agreement. Once you've married her, give her an equal say in decision-making, share responsibilities fairly, and do your best to make sure that sex is intimate and pleasurable for her as well as for you. And consensual. For goodness sake, make sure it's always consensual. I can't stress that enough.
Okay, but one question, Jehovah.
Sure, what?
Does it count as consensual when I have sex with a slave?
What? Of course not! The very fact that she's obligated to obey you means that she would be having sex under the implied threat of... Wait, hold on. You own slaves?
Yes.
Well, you definitely need to stop doing that, and now. Slavery is an absolute abomination, and I can think of nothing worse than depriving another human of freedom for your own selfish ends.
Okay, but does that include all slavery or just harsh slavery?
Oh, wow, I really have my work cut out for me here, don't I? Okay, let's break this down to the basics. Would you like to be taken as a slave and owned by another human?
No.
What if your master didn't treat you harshly? Then would you like it?
No.
So do you think another person would like it if you owned them?
No, I guess not.
They'd probably really not like it, right?
Right.
Regardless of whether it was harsh slavery?
Yeah.
Then it should be obvious that if being a slave would be terrible for you, then it would be terrible for someone else. And that should be all it takes to show that owning slaves is never, ever acceptable. And this is regardless of the time in which you live. Cultural context does not alter my principles of love and kindness, and owning another human is such a horrible violation of this. Always show the highest level of mercy to children. Be firm with them when necessary, but never cruel. You have a solemn charge to nurture and instruct them, and if you ever take advantage of them for your personal benefit in any way, then you can expect to face the full fury of mine. Even if people from other lands seem strange to you, never treat them differently based on race or customs. Things like appearance and the way they dress are superficial, and if you take the time to get to know and understand others, I want you to show kindness even to the animals. Kill them only when needed for food, and then do it as quickly and painlessly as possible. At all costs, avoid excessive or needless cruelty.
What about when I'm making sacrifices?
Making what now?
Sacrifices. You know, when I ritually kill an animal, mutilate its body, splash its blood around, and set its carcass on fire to absolve myself of my sins.
When you what? No! If you ever do something wrong, you need to make things right with anybody you might have harmed, then thoughtfully work to change any patterns of unconstructive behavior. Your actions are just actions. They have consequences, but they don't put a magical stain on your soul. And even if they did, shedding innocent blood would be a weird way to remove it. Seriously, Abram, what are you thinking?
Sorry, Lord, I just saw everybody doing it and...
Yes, and that's the kind of barbaric nonsense I'm here to correct. So okay, what else is there? I think that's about it, except... Oh yeah, everybody should wash their hands. Definitely make sure they do that. It will save a lot of lives. You think you got all that?
It was a lot, but yes, I think I get the idea.
Good. Be faithful to follow the heart of these commands, and in time they will start to shape your character. And of course I will always be here to instruct you in the details when needed.
That's what God could have done. Like any decent moral being, he could have looked down upon the suffering and brutality of the ancient world and intervened by expressing some basic wisdom to his founding patriarch, using his most important covenant as an expression of his true character. But what did he do instead?
Abram! Abram!
What? Who's there?
It is I, the God Jehovah, and I have come to make a covenant with you.
With me?
Yes, because you're my favorite. Now listen up. If you follow the requirements I give you here today, then you will have children that outnumber the sands of the seashore and will become a great nation. All the peoples on earth will be blessed through you. I'll be nice to anybody who's nice to you and f things up for anybody who's mean to you. And you can have all the land as far as the eye can see.
But what about the people who already live here?
Sucks to be them, I guess.
Well, that sounds wonderful, God. So what do you want from me?
My requirements are simple but important. You are the first person I've spoken to since the flood, and my expectations of you reflect what I feel most urgently needs to be communicated to the human race. So I need you to pay close attention. You ready?
Yes, Lord, I'm ready.
Okay, so here goes. I want you to cut off your foreskin. Also the foreskins of all your family and your slaves.
Okay, and what else?
That's it. Oh wait, I guess there is one other thing. I want you and your wife to change your names slightly. But the really vital thing is that you chop those foreskins off. And I want you to obey me without question if I ever come around and ask you for anything else. Even if it's something batshit crazy like randomly murdering a family member. Do that and you'll have an awesome life. Deal?
Deal.